So, look, forgive me if I disturb your scroll to talk about something a little bit serious because I would just like to point out that George Floyd is still dead, Elijah McClain is still dead, Breonna Taylor is still dead. And the reason why they're still dead is because basically they were murdered, one of whom was murdered in her bed. These people were murdered by a system that don't care, by a system murdered, by a system that don't care, by a system. These people were murdered by a system that don't care, that would scream and cheer, that would call us sons of bitches because we climb out from the ghetto, by a system that made us slaves, by a system that drew red lines, by a system that built us prisons, by a system that basically fought to prevent us from having an equal amount of education. Now, you gotta put this in perspective, right? So, Daniel Cameron, the prosecutor for the state of Kentucky, Mr. Daniel Cameron, who is a black man, Daniel Cameron, who is a black man, convened a grand jury where he produced no evidence whatsoever to find that there was a crime committed when these police officers burst into this woman's house and shot her down in her bed. And yes, I know there are always nuances to situations like this, but this woman didn't commit a crime. She wasn't suspected of a crime. And yet, the prosecutor of Kentucky, the prosecutor of the state of Kentucky couldn't find a crime. Daniel Cameron, but he's a Republican prosecutor. He's a black prosecutor who now has made his career. His star is going to shine. He's going to rise within his party. He's going to begin to make a lot of money, to make a lot of progress. Now that he sold this woman instead of delivering justice. The reason why I'm apologizing and stopping your scroll is because I just want to point out to you that just because you're black doesn't mean you support this black experience. Just because you're a minority doesn't mean you stand with minorities. Because a major part of the reason why we still keep having these battles and facing these uphill climbs is because the people we think support us tends to sell us to the highest bidder sometimes. Whoever that bidder may be, whatever that bidder may be about. I just would like to point that out. All right? I just would like you to stop your scroll and think about that for a minute before you continue on and having a mindless day on social media. I just would like to point that out. Not all black people are for us. Not all minorities are for us. Some people are just for them fucking selves, no matter what happened. Daniel Cameron, he made his career on the death of Breonna Taylor.